Hey there, welcome to day 147 of playing chess until I reach 1500 Elo. Currently we're at 1381 after a win in our last game, and let's go ahead and hop into another 15-minute game here and see if we can hit a new all-time high. Okay, so we got black up against a 1391, almost a 1400. And it looks like we get an advanced Caro-Kann, which I think we got in our last game. Isn't that what we played? I think we got, or was that the game before? I don't know. We got an advanced Caro recently, and it tends to be my favorite type of Caro variation. And we normally just try to pressure this pawn here on d4. So let's go ahead and push here first and go for that. That's pretty much always the move here, I think. Although he's played this a little differently than most people by bringing the knight out in front of his pawn, so he can't support his pawn with this pawn. So that's a little bit unusual. Okay. So he actually takes. Normally they don't take here. So let's go ahead and take back with the bishop, because this just gives our bishop very good development. And whenever they go like this, I think we typically just want to trade. The other option would be to slide here to pin the knight, but I don't think that's the correct move. Don't think that's the correct move, even though I do like the positions where we end up trading for the knight and their bishop, white's bishop ends up on this square, kind of pointing at just our pawn chain. I do tend to like those positions, so I'm almost tempted to move it to pin, but I think the correct move is just to take. And then probably knight here. Let's be aware of this. Yeah, I think knight out first. Don't really want to be getting checked. If his knight does come here, that shouldn't really be an issue. We can take twice if he tries to hop into d6 here with our bishop and queen. Yeah, let's just bring the knight out, prevent checks, do all that. And then we start to pressure this pawn, which now is a lot weaker because he only has the knight supporting it, and this pawn is unable to come out and defend it. And typically it would be defended by d4, but that is gone. So this is just going to give us really good development overall to start here. And then this knight we want to develop this way, and then typically we go here. Okay, so the queen comes in, he pins the knight, and he's hitting the bishop. Actually, he's hitting both the bishop and the pawn. So yeah, let's go here, and I think we're fine to... Well, yeah, we'll capture with the bishop if he wants to trade. I think we're fine to just trade here. And we will be threatening this, so probably will want to trade. Only thing is, we don't want the knight. The knight hopping in here and threatening the fork could actually be annoying. Probably will go rook here. Is he able to capture the pawn? No, I don't think so, because the knight, my knight will still guard it. So I think we're all good. So yeah, let's just go here. Defend the bishop and the pawn here. We want to keep up pressure on here. We want to finish our development. And potentially, I was going to say, typically the knight develops here to f5. Okay, all right. We don't want to capture, because then his knight just automatically hops in. I could push and try to get him to capture and then take back with the bishop. Probably should just develop the knight first, though. That's what I'm leaning towards. Yeah, let's just develop the knight here. We support this knight, and then we prepare to maybe hop to one of these squares. Here, I could put some pressure, double up the pressure on the pawn. It will be easy for him to defend it. Yeah, like with the rook there. I think let's just go ahead and castle. Let's be aware of any threats of this knight coming in, or this bishop. I don't think those really do anything without the queen to come over and help. And the queen, you know, it's a couple moves away from swinging over here. So let's see. Yeah, I think let's just go ahead and castle. To make sure there's not like any weird sacrifices here. There's no pin here. His pawn's in the way. If his pawn weren't in the way, then there actually would be a pin, because he would be threatening. Well, no, I guess my knight still defends. Yeah, my knight's still defended, never mind. It's not hanging. Okay. Seems like a weird move. Don't want to go here. I feel like he weakened his dark squares over here, so I feel like there's something we could maybe do to take advantage of it. Should I push the pawn and encourage the queen trade? Because otherwise queen goes back to here. Then he would be able to hop over here pretty easily, but I think if the knight comes in this way, or this way, the knight's over here to help, it should be fine. I don't think there's any big dangers, I guess. Here, bishop is able to come in. Probably just move the king so it's not going to get pinned. No threat of mate or anything. Yeah, I can't decide if I want to try to encourage the trade with pushing the pawn or just play something else that I would typically play, like this, to hit the pawn. Or drop the queen back, no, but then I hang the bishop, so... Here we do pin the knight. If take, we take this way. Then the knight is pinned. He has to defend the knight. I don't know, I can't see anything that makes a lot of sense. Otherwise, I could just develop a rook. I'm taking a long time here, so... I think I'm just going to play... I think I'm just going to push the pawn. Just encourage the trade. It doesn't seem... I don't think I want to just leave the tension here. I feel like I want to push this pawn, and we do cut off the square for his knight as well by pushing the pawn. Wait a second, I just realized this whole time I could have captured here. Because I have a battery on this pawn. How did I not realize that for so long? So I can just capture and win an exchange here. Yeah, I did not see that, even though I was taking a long time on that move. Okay, well, let's capture here and then take the rook. Yeah, I definitely should have seen that earlier. That took way too long for me to notice that we had that. Okay, so now we're winning, so that's good. Yeah, I did play some blitz yesterday, but I felt like I was playing really bad, so I didn't want to play a rapid game because I just felt like I lost a bunch of elo. I had recently gained a ton of elo in blitz, and then yesterday I lost a bunch. Otherwise I might have played a rapid game, but I decided not to. So now I'm like a little more wary of making mistakes since I was playing kind of bad yesterday. Okay, so we are able to capture here because we're hitting this twice. So is there a reason not to capture? Here we hit the queen, we take back, queen maybe moves here, we tempo on the knight, we hop back again. So we just get trades. I don't see any downside to that. This bishop is lining up here, but there's no way for his queen to threaten mate or anything right away. So I think we're all good. And also, yeah, no, without the queen to threaten, queen can't do anything. So I think let's just take here. Just take an extra pawn. Okay, we take here, we trade. Just gonna help us. Yeah, main thing I want to be aware of is this. So knight moves, he could probably come here, threaten mate. So I think I'll go here to just block the queen from threatening that way. And I think that's kind of, I mean, otherwise I guess I would go back this way, but I think I want the knight nearby to help defense of the king just in case. And then I want to try to get a queen trade here. So afterwards, if I go here, no, I can't go here because the knight is there. I was thinking if I could get a queen trade here, maybe I could go down to here because then the knight will support this square. We could try to get a queen trade that way. All right, so let's go back. Okay, knight comes in. I think I want to go down anyway, and then it looks like I'm just moving naturally, but I am also preparing this. Actually, wait, no. I'm not preparing this because the knight moves, so now the bishop is watching this square. Maybe if I kick the knight, though, he'll probably go back. I think he needs to go back, and then I would play this. So let's see what he plays here. But if he just, like, develops the rook or something, I think... Okay, no, he moves his queen, so it's going to prevent me from getting this queen trade, I think. Do I have anything else? Might just kick the knight anyway. Knight comes back. What are his queen moves doing? I guess he is preventing the trade, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's doing all that much. I'm able to just grab this pawn, which might also be a good idea, because then I'm also threatening check. And then actually, if his king moves, we almost have, depending on if he goes to the wrong square, we could have a fork there. I think I probably will just take this pawn, because nothing is in danger right now. Yes, he could go here, but then I go check. He moves. I can always come back and defend this way, so I think we're fine. Just defending mate if he tries to threaten that. Is anything in danger over here? He can hit the rook. I think we're good. Let's just take this. So we're up quite a bit of material. I'm guessing he's going to try to just line up a mate here, because he doesn't have a whole lot else to go for. He doesn't? Okay, he was more worried about the check. Even though his rook is defended, so I wasn't able to win the rook there. So he moves the king preemptively, seems like kind of unnecessarily, and he almost walks into the fork. If I check here, can I get him? Can I fork him? Wait, can I force a queen trade by sacrificing my queen? Here. Check here. 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 No. I don't know if I can. I'm thinking just check here to just centralize the queen and attack him. Even though that's my knight's attacking square potentially. So maybe check here. If he does go over there, then we do get the fork. This seems like a fine square anyway, I think. Where does he go if I check him here? Goes here. Okay, I'm just going to check him here, because this square seems good, and it doesn't quite force the fork, because he's able to go back. Oh, he just does that. But then I might just check him this way. That seems kind of dangerous. Also, the pawn is pinned. So if I go here, we're threatening the queen. I don't know if that makes any sense, though. I think let's just check him. Okay, he goes back. Yeah, I need to get my rooks activated here, so probably just rook here and we hit this twice. Whenever he does go for the mate, I might need to drop back to here, or maybe just push a pawn or something like that. Here doesn't win the rook yet, because it's still guarded by the bishop. Here, knight comes here. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna slide a rook over here. Let's probably just slide this one. Also, is that? No, that's not a thing at all. Check here. Wait, what if I go check again? Wait, can I force him onto the bad square? No, because this doesn't work anyway. Check. Check. I almost wonder if I should just keep giving more checks. It might be best. Now let's just attack with the rook first. Let's just attack this twice. Okay, knight comes in, but I think I'm just going to take here. If the knight attacks this rook, that shouldn't be an issue. So yeah, I mean, I'm taking here and then we're threatening a lot of stuff. I'm threatening his bishop. We attack this twice. And we're almost like threatening a mate, but not quite because his queen is guarding it. Seems like he's just going for very like shallow attacks. Just hop the knight in to attack my rook, even though I'm able to just come up and capture. Just kind of like one move threats. Okay. Here just unfortunately loses my rook, but I can still just win the bishop. Yeah, I'm not sure what he's doing. I don't know if he hasn't really any good moves right now. If I were him, I probably would just have threatened the mate and just hope that I missed it, because otherwise he's pretty lost. King moves over. Yeah, I think I'll just take the bishop. I mean, this doesn't work. Yeah, we don't have mate or anything yet. Let's just take the bishop. My knight could come in and hit the queen, and his queen has to continue guarding the mate, so he probably needs to go to one of these squares. Or this square. He has a couple different options. But if the knight hops in then to here... Actually, right now I was just threatening mate anyway. Oh, well, he just hung mate here. Okay, now he resigned. Okay, well, we got another win, another new all-time high. I don't know what that game was. It felt like our opponent was really making a lot of blunders. Let's see what it says. I'm up to, yeah, 1389, so we're only like 2 games away from hitting 1400. Let's check the game review. That was kind of a quick one. All right, here's the game review. 82.3% accuracy, and he had 64.9. I had a couple misses, so yeah, I can't believe I didn't see that bishop capture on the pawn for so long. That was kind of bad that I didn't see that. So that's probably one of my misses, and it just won us an exchange. Luckily, I saw it after. Yeah, he has 3 blunders, so I don't know what he was doing. He was making a lot of mistakes there, but we all have games like that sometimes. Okay, yeah, everything is pretty standard here. Trade that. Okay, it didn't actually want me to trade. It wants the knight to develop, and then I guess we capture back this way. But it looks like it's still totally fine. And that's kind of how I'm used to playing it. Actually, let me see real quick. What happens if we go here? Is this bad? It says it's, like, it's okay, I guess. Yeah, okay. There's nothing special about that position. I actually prefer when the bishop comes back and then you capture and then they go here. Because this bishop just ends up feeling very misplaced and not very useful through most of the game. So they kind of think, well, it's a knight for a... I'm giving up my bishop for his knight, but then their bishop just ends up really being pretty useless for a while, I think. In my experience, whenever I get that position, it tends to be kind of good for black there. Maybe just at my level, though. It might be different at higher levels. Okay, here bringing the queen out was best. And then he blundered this, yeah, so here's his first blunder. It did want me to push the pawn and make his queen make a decision here earlier. But I developed the knight, which was also good. And then he blunders that, and I totally missed that, and I just castle. And it's actually like... Actually, no, I didn't spend that long on that move. I made 2 moves without seeing that. That's really bad, actually. Although he didn't see it either, but... Yeah, so he made multiple blunders. The graph is kind of funny because it just has multiple, like, big spikes right here. He's continuously blundering and I'm making the same miss. And then I finally realized here that I could just capture that. So, yeah, should have seen that earlier. He hung it for multiple moves, and then eventually I realized I can just take the pawn and win in exchange, and now we have a very nice position. We're able to get that pawn too and get some trades, and then nothing really too special here happened. I really thought he was going to try to line up the mate threat, because otherwise what do you even do when you're down this much material? Because people can overlook that, and he throws the pawn there, we give another check. Okay, rook here was best. Yeah, I was considering doing like check. He comes down again, maybe another check, and I feel like it could lead to something. Okay, I guess it wants his queen trade. It wants his queen to be traded off. Well, I guess we capture the pawn, but I would just trade the queen to avoid any potential trouble with that. And then we have a very winning position here. But I didn't go for that because the rook attacking here was also very threatening. So went for this. The knight, yeah, he was just going for these one-move threats where, like, the knight's hitting the rook, but he didn't really seem to look that I can just go and capture the pawn here. So it prefers that he goes here. What about just maybe putting the rook here to guard? Yeah, that was good. I mean, his position's totally lost anyway, but don't know what he was going for. And then here we just take the bishop. I guess there wasn't really anything he could do. It wants him to just give up his queen for the rook. And then he just gives up mate in 1 here. Because I guess, yeah, I was threatening mate in 1 here. So he went back here to prevent that mate in 1, but then he gave us this mate in 1. All right, here we go. I'm deciding to play a second game. Let's jump into another one, because that one was pretty quick. Okay, now we have white, and we're up against a 1430. Pretty high-rated player. We're going to try to get our Jobava London. That first game was just so quick, and he was making a lot of blunders. So let's see if we get a more challenging game this time. Okay, knight c6 first. If he plays knight f6, then that would be a mistake, because then we're going to have knight b5 and that whole line that comes out of that, where we will win some pawns and stuff. Knight c6 first is pretty unusual. Can I play knight b5 anyway, depending on what... Let's see what he plays. I'm not sure when I can or can't play knight b5 based on this knight c6 move for him. He is thinking a bit, so he's probably not going to make this mistake. But it does get trickier for him to defend it now. If he plays here, he can defend it with the bishop, so that should be okay, but then it will give up his bishop. There is also this move. If he plays here, okay, he just plays a6. So yeah, that gets rid of any kind of knight b5 ideas. So we're just going to develop naturally here. The pawn out, knight here, bishop here. I haven't had this position too often where it's a6 and knight c6. Okay, let's go knight out first. Oh wait, actually, is he going to try to... Oh, maybe he's going to try to do the same thing to me, but I can just defend with the rook, though. Okay, he doesn't go for that. Let's just... Actually, what is this move? This is... Seems a little bit dangerous, because if my knight weren't here, I could almost win his bishop. I guess it just goes back, though. But then I could win the pawn. If my knight were not here. So maybe knight here. Does knight here work to hit the bishop? Bishop goes back. We take... It looks kind of ugly for him. I don't know if it works. Yeah, this is a strange move. He's really... This f6, I think, tends to be weakening. Very weakening on the light squares here. I'm really considering this. We should be able to forcibly trade his bishop off, because he only can go here or here, and we take with the knight either way. So we'll get rid of his pretty active bishop here. But it doesn't quite get me that win of a pawn or anything. Actually, take. Now we don't get the check because his rook will be opened up. So there's a little bit of a downside to that. I think it's probably worth doing. Otherwise, I would just... What else would I do? Knight back to here, and then we're threatening that, but here, it doesn't... He has a move to prepare, and I'm just undeveloping my knight, kind of. So I think I'm going to go here. Oh wait, actually, is there... If he just tries to fork the bishop and the knight, is that an issue? I take... He takes... Do I have another capture there? Maybe he can just fork them, and then he takes my bishop, which is a pretty good bishop. What if he goes here anyway? I go back. Okay, I don't think it works. I think I'm just gonna develop my bishop here. Okay. He pins the knight. We're definitely going to just kick him, I think. And we're fine if he trades that, and we take back with the queen here. Kind of activate the queen, prepare maybe to castle queenside. You could castle either way, which is always nice to have both options. And we do have the check. Blocks with the pawn. Yeah, he has to block with the pawn. But if he blocks with the pawn, then I capture, because this pawn is pinned. So I think we have a nice tactic here. Check. Push, take, if take, and we take this. He can't block any other way because he's really put himself in an awkward position here. So let's go check. And he's going to have to move his king, because you ran out of stuff. You weakened your light squares and then ran out of things to block with. And you only have the pawn, but the pawn is pinned. The defender of the pawn is pinned to the rook. So if you push, I take. If you take, then you get the bishop, and I get the rook. And a pawn, I think. Yeah. So I think he realizes that, so he's going to have to move his king here, which is very unpleasant for him. Yep. And we have this check. Check, where do you go? I mean, he has a couple ways to block. If he blocks with the bishop, then I take here. He could block with the knight. That probably works. If his king moves, if he goes back, then I have... No, he has two defenders on the pawn. Are there any tactics here? Take, take. Ooh, is there something here? This looks really interesting. Take, take, check. Both diagonals are cut off. He can't block that at all. So he has to go here. This looks really interesting. But I can't quite see what to do after that. Take, take, check. I could also check with the queen there. He goes over. We almost have mate, but I don't have this square defended. I feel like it works, but I don't know if I want to risk it unless I'm sure. Take, take, check. King comes over. Bishop's here. How do I get mate? He's going to be able to guard the mate though with his queen, so what if I sack this bishop to divert his queen? But I don't have a threat of mate quite yet. It seems so close. Take, take, check. Or what about take, take, check? Okay, he moves. No, I can't take that. Maybe there's a way to make it work, but I can't quite see it. I cannot quite see it. Wait, what if I go check first? What if I go check first? Check. Oh, this looks really interesting. Block. This could be disgusting. Check, block, take, take, check. Oh, wait. No, no, if the knight blocks, you can't take because it's pinned. And that literally could be mate. I'm going to try it. I think. Let's see. This would be crazy if that's mate, if I can get that. If he just blocks with the queen, we just trade. I think he's going to think about this one for a while because he knows he's in a lot of danger here. Actually, if he blocks with the queen, maybe I won't trade. Maybe I will go back because it does give up a lot of my advantage if we just kind of go to an endgame. Because his king is in the center, which right now with the queens on the board is super dangerous, but in an endgame that would be potentially a benefit for him. So yeah, if he does block with the queen, I probably will go back. I'm thinking he might block with the knight to preserve his bishop guarding the pawn here. And once I capture here, maybe he'll see, well, this is assuming, so if he blocks with the knight, then I capture, he probably won't take because I think he would see that what would happen. And hopefully I'm calculating this correctly, but I think that that's mate. Oh, he blocks with this knight. Is it still the same? No, I don't think so because he gets a new escape square. He gets this square. Take, take, check. The knight's pinned, so he has to go here. Once he goes there, then what can I do? I don't know if I can do anything once he goes there. I don't think I can. So I might have to give up on this idea. What if I also go knight here, take and check this way? Then he blocks here. So I don't think that that works. What if I go... No, because he takes with the king if I do this. If he took with the queen, then I could... No, I can't take the bishop because the rook will cover it. Okay, I don't think I have anything. I think if he blocked with this knight, I think I might have almost had a mate if I sacked the knight here. But I don't think I really have anything now. Let's just castle. He is in a very uncomfortable position. Let me make sure my queen is not in too much danger. Knight here, I come back. I could also just take the knight if he does that. So tricky, but yeah. I really wish this worked. I just don't think it quite does. Should I just try to open up the center though? Okay, let's castle first. Let's just castle. I'm looking for crazy tactics here, and they seem so close, so I'm like putting in a lot of effort, but I think just castle and then look for stuff after. So his knight's pinned, his bishop can't really develop. Actually, is there a danger if he does this? Okay, he does do that, yeah. I just realized that right in that moment. Because now if he goes here, well, no, I would just capture. I would just capture if he goes there. So I don't think that that's too much of an issue. I'm worried about the queen getting trapped, but I don't think it will. This knight is pinned. I'm on a light square, so the bishop can't hit me. The only thing that's a danger is this knight hitting me, or somehow the rook hitting me, but I don't think that the rook will be able to safely hit me. And this knight can't hit me safely. Because if he goes there, then I just capture. So I don't think he can trap me. I'm going to take the risk and say I don't think he can trap me. Let's check our potential idea again here. Does this work now? No, it doesn't, because now he cut off our square. So I'm thinking let's just try to open the center up. I mean, the king's in the middle. We have a lot of pressure. Yeah, let's just open the center. Here, here. We can win a pawn, threaten to win a pawn and open everything up. Try to get our rooks out here. If I can get a rook here and open this file, that would be good. Okay. I don't think the queen can get trapped. Let's see. Let's see if that's correct. I guess, actually, what if he pushes this, though? No, but still, if the knight comes here, then I take here. Yeah. Okay, let's push in the center. Hopefully I'm correct, and I didn't miss a way he can trap my queen. That would be pretty tragic. Okay. So now the question is, do I just take here? He moved a pawn there. Oh, wait. He did cut off his escape square again, but I don't have this anymore, so it doesn't work. Can my knight do anything? Not really. I think I just take. If I push, he can push, and then everything gets locked up. I think I need to just take. And we just open things up. He could take either way. Okay, he takes that way. Yeah, I think that makes sense, but it probably makes sense. But now I think I'm going to pressure with the rook here. Again, let me check this, but unless there's a different square I can go to, because this one doesn't work. This is still covered. Everything is covered. But he's just in a really tough position here. Okay, let's hit this with the rook. We're attacking this twice. This is what we wanted. Get the open file, open the position up. I think he would have been better off if he tried to trade the queens earlier. He hits this with his queen and he's guarding. Okay, this is guarded. Now do I have this though? This opens up. I don't have this because the bishop is guarding. I really want to have something, but here I have this and then this with check. Oh, I think I like that. That has tempo on the queen. We don't care at all if he takes this pawn. I mean, it's actually guarded by the knight. He's able to take this pawn. I don't think it's a concern because I'm gonna have check. Actually, no. If he takes the pawn, I don't have check because it's not guarded. So that would be annoying, actually. Yeah, that would be annoying. Here. Okay, I could go here. He takes. No, I don't have that. I don't want to go bishop back to defend though. What should I do to defend the pawn? Knight here does not seem like the optimal way to do this. Can I do anything with my bishop? The knight's pinned. Can I add pressure to the knight? Take, 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 take. No. I can't figure out what to do. Maybe I just stack the rook up. But then if he captures, I do have to move my knight. But I have here. Then he captures here, and then I don't have that either way. Yeah, I wish this pawn were defended. I almost feel like I need to do here and then here. But then I'm not hitting this anymore. And I'm not cutting these squares off anymore. That can't be right. Okay, I think knight here. No. Here, here, here. None of it works. I don't want to lose the pawn here. Okay, maybe just bishop back, even though I'm removing the pressure on here. I'm just gonna try bishop back. to guard here. If he takes this, again, I'm not worried about that. And I'm gonna try to use my knight to attack. I don't know if this is gonna work though. But the only other option was coming back with the knight that I saw. And that seems worse because I really want my knight to come over and help attack the king here. Because the knight also will hit this pawn again too, which is really good. And it will allow me to defend with my pawn. If I can move the knight, then I can push this pawn forward, get another defender of this, since, yeah, we can hold everything together. And him taking here just never, it doesn't seem like it's a quick enough attack, because I'm immediately going to go here with tempo, then go here. Maybe be able to take here. It's hard to find the right moves though, even though I have a good position for sure. Don't have a material advantage, but his king is just totally out in the center here. I really don't like that the bishop is blocking my rook from attacking here though. But honestly, my other move was the knight, which does the same thing, knight to come back to guard. So I think of the two, this made more sense to me. This knight can never move or I take here. The bishop can never move because the only square it goes to, I just capture it here. His rook can't move because everything is locked down here. So his whole position, and this knight can't move because it's bent. So everything here is all, maybe not the pawns, but all the pieces here are completely tied down. His rook and his queen are the only ones that can really do anything. So if I just continue to mobilize these pieces to attack the center, I should have a big advantage if I can use my queen to keep everything tied down here. It's a pretty interesting game that we're getting here though. Yeah, if he were to take here though, that would actually be pretty bad, I think, because then maybe I would go here. Wait, would this work? No, I don't think it would work. Because then when he takes the rook, I can take with check, but I give up the knight and then also the rook here is hanging, and that could be really dangerous. Okay, his queen moves there. Queen moves there. He doesn't want me to hit him with the knight. I think I'm going to go here anyway. Can't go back to here. He's not really threatening anything. Yeah, I think I just want to get my knight in the game. And he can't cut this square off. He could go there with the rook, but then he'd have to give up the rook for the knight. So yeah, I think I'm just going to do this. And then we also prepare to either push this pawn, like to support this one, or even to just open the file up, which could even be better. Okay, let's go here. And maybe he just goes here to prevent me from coming in. If he does that, I'll probably just start trying to open things up with another pawn push. Okay, he does do that. I think I'll go for the pawn push. I can hop the knight back if needed, and now the pawn is in front of it, and I can put a rook on the file. Let me see, is there anything else? I don't think so. Let's open it up. And yeah, if I can just get a rook over here. This rook definitely, because this one is still maintaining some pressure here on the e-file. So if I can get the a rook over to the c file and force this open, like that will look, I don't know what I'll do exactly, but that will look pretty dangerous for him. It is a little tricky to actually find the right moves though when he's playing pretty good defensive moves from what I can tell. Also, should I just ever push this? Push the pawn, the queen gets hit. If he takes, I take again. Queen still gets hit, or I take with the knight even with check. Wonder if I should push. These squares are all cut off. Where can the queen go? Goes here. Then I can go check here. I almost wonder, oh yeah, because that wins a piece. I think pushing might actually be better than taking here. Take, take. But then I don't get the open file. I think it wins a piece though, because he's gonna go. I push. He can take. It doesn't matter. And then he needs to go back, I think. And then I'm supporting this square, which is a check and a fork on the rook. So yeah, my plan is to push. Let's see what he does though. Opening the file might be better, but I see like an actual tactic by pushing, and I don't quite see one by opening the file yet. So I'm not sure what he'll play. I guess maybe he'll bring the rook over here though. But I think the same thing applies because I have 3 defenders. So he'd have to like give up his rook. Yeah, he can go take with the rook, then I take with a knight. And that's still with check. So this might be the best move for him, but it still doesn't prevent me from doing this. And I also could open it up if I want to, but I don't think that's what I'll do. Because I have 1, 2, 3 defenders for this square. So I can support the pawn. He has 3 attackers, but he would need 4 to be able to win. 1, 2, 3. This is assuming the rook comes over to c8. And everything else, all his other pieces are still tied down. Nothing can move here. Until his king moves, I guess. If his king moves, he gets the knight out of the pin. That will change things. And I do have to be careful because it is possible my knight could get trapped in the future if the king moves. But I think as long as I can keep a lot of pressure up on him, then I don't think that will happen. But yeah, my queen is trapped, can't go anywhere at the moment. But it's doing more than the weakness of my queen being trapped is completely worth it because it's restricting everything in his position and allowing me to mobilize all my other pieces to attack. Alright, he's taking quite a while on this particular move. Because I had a lot less time than him, but now we're about to be even on time here. I'm assuming it's going to be rook here though. Rook to c8. Right? Because if the pawn pushes to kick the knight, it's going to be same thing, I think. Or actually, if the pawn pushes, I could even give check right away, which could be maybe good. But I think I would probably do the same thing of pushing, tempo on the queen, and then hop the knight in. Now he could just move his king, but where would he even move it? King here, break the pin. That could be a potential move, although actually no, because if he moves his king back, then I take the bishop. Oh, he just captures. I wasn't even considering him capturing, actually. But maybe that makes the most sense. So I'm going to capture with this, I guess. Does he have a fork then? No, because then I check if he pushes. And then now we're hitting this twice with the bishop. And we can move this bishop and be hitting it 3 times. Also, I could push this pawn and then we're hitting this twice right away. Okay, let's just take first. Let's take first. I think taking is good. Hitting this twice. He has the queen and the king both defending it though. So I have to decide if I think pushing is better. Push and then check. Because then I'd be threatening this check, taking this pawn with check. But what does that give me? King moves. Maybe we get a rook here. Still a really weird position. Still hard to find the right moves. Even though I know there's good moves here for me because I have them in a really difficult position. But it's hard to decide between them. Also, my dark square bishop doesn't have a great place to move now, does it? Could move here. Does this work? Because if the queen takes, then I take here with check. King moves. I don't know. I don't think I want to sack a bishop for that. Okay, the rook comes over now. I'm thinking rook behind it because I want a rook on the file anyway. The only thing is now, if he does push with the fork, check, he gives up the rook. He could give up the rook for the 2 pieces. Or wait, no, does it? Push, check. No, it's not for 2 pieces, right? It's just for the 1. Also, I'd be threatening to win the queen on the next move. Seems dangerous for him. I think rook behind. Otherwise, I go here, hit the rook again, Rook maybe comes down. I do have check. I do have check afterwards. Here. Rook moves. Check. King moves somewhere. Where does the king even move? I don't know. Or if I just push this right away. If I push this right away, we're threatening to win the rook with the bishop supporting here. And how does he stop that? If he takes the bishop, it's the same thing. I'll still fork him and win the rook. Yeah, I really can't decide which moves I want to do. I cannot decide. I think I want a rook here. What if the queen comes here? No, then I'd take... I think I want a rook here. I don't know, because this seems really good as well. And this seems good. I have like analysis paralysis. I don't know which one's best. Here, take, check, move, take, take. Okay, I'm going to start with this, because this is pretty threatening. This is threatening the fork. I have to play something. I really don't know if that was the right move, but... I had so many options and I couldn't figure out which one was best. But I do like this because it seems kind of hard for him to defend. He could go back to here maybe. Then I also take here with check. Oh, then I give up that. Oh, I messed up. Well, actually did I? Let me just take here with check first. Take here. The king moves. Because this is defended. Where does the king go? King here. Okay, what can I do? If I threaten this, we're threatening to win there. Take, take. Fork doesn't work. What about just here? Where does the queen go? Okay, I think I like this. I feel like this is the safest thing. I'm gonna hit the queen first. Because then the queen moves and I'm able to slide up into here with check again, which I like. We also have to play quicker now. I also have check here now. I'm gonna do with the rook. The only thing is my queen is still stuck. Also, I am able to hop in here. This is undefended. This position is kind of crazy. Could there almost be mate with the bishops? Where does he go here? I haven't even looked at where he's going to go. Okay, he goes down. I think check here, right? Here. Yeah, I think check here. But this knight is not pinned anymore, actually. So check there doesn't actually work. I actually don't know what to do. Okay, I'm gonna go here to hit the rook. This is guarded. Time's getting very low. I kind of wish I could free my queen up right now. If the knight moves, then my queen does free up. So maybe I should go check here. Okay, I think check here. Yeah, let's go check here. If the knight moves, then we have this check, which could be good. Okay, yeah, I think that's good. I can also take... Yeah, okay, actually I don't have the check right away because that. But I think if I take first, now we open up our queen, which we've been trying to do for a while. And also we have check here, which is even best to play first. Okay, I'm gonna just try, what do I try? Let me just go here first. Because this seems like almost mate. Oh, I hung the knight. Oh, that was dumb. Okay. But what about this? Check. Discover check. Okay, let's just play. I don't have time. Discover check and then we promote. There could be mate here, but time is so low. We promote and win the rook. Also, if he goes to this side, we win the queen. This is... Oh, his time's so low. He's on 5 seconds. He's on 1 second. Okay, his time's up. That was a crazy game. I can't believe I hung the knight there at the end. I mean, the time was getting low, but I think even though I hung the knight, I think I had a crushing position because I had that discovered check and I was going to promote, win the rook. Potentially, depending on where his king moved, I might have been able to win the queen. Yeah, this is just too dangerous for him. With the rooks and the queen out, even though I just hung the knight by accident to the king, I don't think it mattered. I think we were crushing in a couple different ways. A couple different potential options there. I think this was my first main idea, but also just trying to win the queen here because king comes over. This is a discovered check. We win the queen. If the king didn't come over, I might have tried to force him to come over maybe with a rook or something. Actually, where can he even go? So this is cut off. Everything's cut off here, except for here. He could come back up. If he comes back up, what would I have done? Yeah, probably just promote. Actually, does it win? Promote, take, but then king takes the rook, so maybe I would go check in between. Check and guard the rook. Yeah, I think that would probably be okay. Oh yeah, also I could have just promoted by taking the bishop as well, so then we take the bishop, rook takes. Yeah, we win a lot of material in that case. Even if he took this rook, we would still win material. And I don't think he'd be able to take it, because if he came up, then I would give the check, and king would have to move and the rook would be guarded. So I think we'd be fine. Let's check the game review, because that was a crazy game. And so now we're almost to 1400. That brought us to 1398. That was, I think that was the highest rated opponent that I've beaten. I think I beat a 1400 one time, but I don't think he was in the mid. This guy was 1430. Okay, we both have terrible accuracy. I'm actually not surprised by that, because a lot of times in these kind of positions, the engine finds so many great lines. Like, I'm seeing I have a bunch of misses. 3 misses, 2 mistakes. He had 1 blunder, 1 miss. But yeah, these kind of positions are where I tend to get low accuracy. So I only had 68, and he only had 51, which is, yeah, pretty common, I would say, in these kind of very open, crazy positions, because there's so many possibilities. That's what I was struggling with, was all the different possibilities at once. And he was too, because he started using a ton of time there at the end as well, to the point where he even lost on time. But yeah, I can see the eval bar even after. Oh wow, actually, I didn't even look at this before, but just looking straight at the eval graph, it never dipped back in his favor here. So even after I just like hung that knight by accident at the end, it didn't matter. Apparently, we just had mate in 4 at the end, so yeah, it was over for him. I think I was gonna definitely, I might not have found the perfect moves like the mate in 4, but I was gonna find some good moves there if he didn't run out of time. Okay, so a6 in the Jobava is one of the better ways, I think, for black to play against it, because you just never get this knight b5 idea. So yeah, this just, when you get this in the Jobava, you just switch to just basic development. You play e3, knight f3, bishop d3. So that's what I was going for here. And then when he played this though, f6, that's what really changed everything. It made the whole position really wacky. Okay, yeah, I don't know why he dropped back to here also. It was kind of weird. And then just gives the bishop up and my queen takes, and now I just get like a very active position with great development, and he has these terrible weak light squares. And when I take back with the queen and he gave up his light square bishop, his only defender of these light squares is gone. So he made some major mistakes here in the opening. Even though the engine is not saying these are like blunders or anything, it's just saying inaccuracy, I think this is what set the pace for the whole game. These were major errors. So now this was a mistake. Yeah, I will say I was kind of getting tunnel vision on this tactic because I thought he was most likely to play this, and now I have to see if this was going to work. So if he plays this, yeah, so the engine wants it. Oh, this would have been such a cool tactic. Brilliant. And then we have mate in 1. I was really hoping he was going to go for that, and it seemed like the most natural move. I'm actually really surprised that he didn't go for that, because it develops the knight and frees up his pieces more. And he definitely wouldn't have seen the tactic. Now, after I played this though, he probably wouldn't have taken, because he probably would have realized what was going to happen right after. So I don't know what he would have played. Let's see what it recommends. Oh, it recommends just queen over to try to trade. Oh, but then we get a fork at the end. Take, here. Oh yeah, that's really nice. Oh, that tactic would have been so good. I can't believe he played the other knight. I spent so long coming up with that too. And then playing the other knight was a blunder, so. It wanted him to just trade the queens. That's what I was worried that he would go for. That's why bringing the queen in here was a mistake. Because if he just tried to trade the queens, yeah, then it wants me to go back, which is what I was planning on doing. But now he gets some initiative to fix his position. But he didn't try to go for that. Definitely would have been the best idea. And he, let me see, what did it say for this knight? Yeah, that's a mistake. I'm surprised it's not worse, actually, because this knight is a blunder. And what was I supposed to play? I was supposed to play this anyway. Okay, I was considering playing it anyway, but I didn't think... Oh, it says leads to losing a queen. Okay, well, I didn't see this far ahead. I didn't realize that we would win his queen if I just played this anyway. Yeah, so I saw this. He opened up his square. He comes here. Oh, I have this check. Okay, I didn't realize I had this check. That's what I wasn't seeing. I still don't know exactly what I get from it, but it seems really, really, really ugly for him once he has to start walking completely out in the center here. Yeah, I did not see this check when I was calculating this. And then it wants him to block with his queen and give it up to the bishop. So he would not have played that. He would have played here. So let's see what would have happened once he plays here. Ooh, check with the pawn. This is going to be really crazy. It doesn't say there's a mate yet, but I think it's almost going to be a mate to the point where he's going to have to sack his queen again or something. King over. Check again. Okay, it wants to sack the pawn now. The engine has some crazy stuff here. Let's say he just takes the pawn here. Check again. Okay, now it says mate in 5. Alright, well, I would not have found all this. But I did consider that idea. I just couldn't see this. Particularly this next check with the queen I did overlook. I was thinking, can I get a bishop over here to check or a pawn or something? But I didn't see it, and I missed that this square would be nice and open. But that was the downside to his knight hopping here, is that it did free up this last escape square for his king to run away to. And because I just couldn't calculate clearly enough, I decided not to take that risk and give up my bishop there. Or my knight, I mean. Okay, so let's go back to what was actually played. So instead, that was my miss. Instead, I castled. So yeah, this is why the accuracy is low, because you have to find these crazy ideas, which I almost found this one, but just couldn't quite see how it would work. And then I think his idea is going for trapping the queen here, which it counted as a miss. Yeah, I really want him to just try to trade the queen. If he did try to trade the queen, actually, yeah, there I do have to trade it. We're still winning, though. We still have a very nice advantage. Wait, it doesn't... Oh, it wants him to take with the rook, yeah. To take with the rook, so we don't hang that pawn. Okay. So, yeah, he was not finding the idea to trade the queen, which definitely was the way to go. Okay, it wants my knight to come here sooner. Yeah, I wasn't looking at this at the time. I started going for let's break the center. This was another miss, apparently. Because typically when the king's in the center, you want to just try to open it up. So I just was trying to play that principle. And I didn't really look at the knight hopping over yet. But yeah, I came up with this later, but then it was a lot harder to get into that square later on. Okay, we have a +5 advantage. This was best. We hit that. This is where I couldn't decide what to do for a long time. And I went with this because I wanted this pawn to be guarded, because I wanted the knight to be able to get there. And if he takes this pawn and then he's hitting the bishop and everything, it's going to give him several moves of tempo. And he breaks this pawn, breaks down my pawn in the center. I guess if he took it, I would have taken here, though, with check. But what would that have led to exactly? So let me see. So it wants this. This is what I was considering. Then take. I thought about this for a while. But then, yeah, he's hitting both of these. And I didn't see much coming from this. Actually, you know what? Maybe there is, because this bishop is cutting this off, this is cutting this off, so he has to go up to one of these squares. Or no, he only has one square. He has to go up here to d8. So it's a very forcing position. I don't quite know what the follow-up is just yet, though. And that's the thing, is if I can't see the follow-up clearly, then, and it seems risky, because this is pretty risky, then I'm probably not going to play it. So it actually doesn't want me to take with the queen. It wants me to take with the rook, though. So just hang both these pieces and take with the rook, even though I don't see what we're going to do afterwards, because this is guarded by the bishop and by the knight. So I go check here, he goes over. And then we do get a discovered attack. But what do I win with it? I can only take pawns with the discovered. Oh wait, I could take here. Take here and then win the queen if he takes it. But he probably would just take this though, instead of the knight. The bishop is seems more dangerous. Oh, but then I do get the fork. Alright, this stuff is it's way too complicated. So yeah, I didn't see all this and it seemed dangerous, so I played the safer idea, which was try to bring my bishop back, guard the pawn. I didn't want the position to just break apart like that. And then try to have the pawn secure and move the knight. So it's okay, we still have a big advantage, but the engine had a +6 about, and after not playing that line, we're down to a +2.7. But we still have a very nice advantage. And then he slides his queen back over here. I'm not sure what the idea was exactly. Now we play knight a4, which is best. Pushing the pawn, the engine's not saying it's best, it says good. It actually prefers the rook coming over. I think it wants him to just sack the rook for the knight once I check, but he didn't want to do that. Okay, this was best. We break this open. Yeah, I thought about this for a long time and I was thinking I want to push here, but I actually totally forgot about just him capturing, which also is fine. I mean, we open up the file, but I had this whole plan about how I was gonna have that tactic afterward. Let me see if he played something else. Like, I thought he was gonna play this. Yeah, then push, take, queen moves, and then we get our fork. So we calculated all that correctly. He just didn't play that move. That would have been cool though. So I had a couple really nice tactical ideas that just didn't quite come to fruition. So that's why it took so long, because we just were like, every time I had a good idea, he would find some kind of like counter to avoid it or just delay it. And it just took so long to really put together a strong attack. So here he gets this fork, but honestly does not even matter. We push our pawn here to threaten this fork, and then he goes like that. Because yeah, again, we're threatening to win the rook, and if we can win the rook and then also start bringing our rooks in, it's just going to be really hard for him to do anything at all, and he'll be down material. So that was the point of pushing the pawn here. But then also, if he does play something else like this, then we just take here with check. King has to move, and then we also have some pretty strong attacking ideas there, and the file opens up. So that's what happened. He pushed, goes for the fork, we take with check. We hit the queen with tempo, which it looks like that was basically the best move, although it actually prefers the other one to come over. Don't think it makes a huge difference. And apparently it's mate and 8 from here. This wasn't the best though. I was considering the bishop check, but I just felt like the rook check was more solid, but it did prefer the bishop check here. Mate and 8. After I checked with the rook, it went back to mate and 11. Knight coming here was not the best. Also, both of our time was very low here. It wants me to check here. Check here. The knight would take. But then I was thinking, okay, if that happens, then I can't really like check, or what do I do? But it's this knight that it wants, or this rook that it wants to come over and check. But then he blocks. I would have not felt that comfortable with this position, because it seems like we're allowing him to fix his position and develop everything. And he's up +2 material. My knight's still hanging. It just seems a little more dangerous, even though the engine clearly is thinking that this is the way to go. But if I were in this position right here, especially with low time, would I have still pushed the pawn? Then does he sack the knight for it? I don't know. This does feel a lot trickier. No, he has 3 pieces defending that. No, the bishop isn't, because it's pinned. I don't know. This just seems a lot harder to navigate. So I didn't go for that. I just figured, okay, time's low. Let me just hop the knight in here, hit the rook with tempo. We get the knight out of danger. His rook is under attack. And we maybe open up the ability to check here as well with the knight defending, which is what happened. Oh, I actually hung my rook there. Okay, even though I hung my rook, that was kind of bad. When the time got low, I made multiple blunders, it looked like. Although the engine didn't really count them as blunders because my position never went in his favor. But I did hang pieces without realizing here when the time got low. I did not notice that I hung that rook. I'm glad he didn't see that. I mean, I'm at 42 seconds and he's at 28 seconds here. If he did take that, that's with check. I have to move my king. That would be really unpleasant, even though the engine says I'm still fine. Yeah, I did not see that. I'm glad that that he didn't notice. Okay, then I give this check. He takes there, and then my plan here was once he takes with the knight, we free up the rook and the queen to be connected, and that worked out really well. Or it gave us a lot of opportunity. And then yeah, he still didn't realize, and neither did I. Neither of us noticed that this rook was hanging. But apparently we're still fine even if he took it, so I guess I'm not too worried about it. But and then I hung the knight here. Time getting low. Hung the knight, but it wasn't a big deal. We get the discovered check, and now we have mate in 3, it says. So there was so much going on in that position. It was really hectic, but I can see why the accuracy was actually pretty low, because especially at the end here, there were a lot of errors. And also I had those big misses earlier when it wanted to sacrifice tactic and stuff. And then yeah, he just ran out of time here. What did the engine want? Let me see what the mate in 3 was actually. Show checkmate. Okay, king over. Okay, checkmate right in the middle of the board there. Don't think I would have seen the mate in 3. I would have just... What would he have done? Realistically, I think... Okay, I push here. I was thinking maybe he would go king up. King up is best. And then I was thinking check here. Okay, it wants him to sack the queen, so that's not a good sign. Oh yeah, because he's actually... Oh, he has to. He has to sack, because otherwise it's mate. I didn't realize that, but... Okay, I would have just taken here. It wants me to just go ahead and take this. He takes... Then we check again. Yeah, this position is actually insane. Oh, and this is just mate too. That was a really interesting game. There were so many different like tactics and things going on there. And even though the accuracy was low, we still made it work and pulled out the win. So yeah, we're 1 game away from 1400 after getting 2 wins now today. So I think I've actually only had 1 loss. I haven't looked at it. Maybe I'll take a look real quick because I have my big win streak and then I did take a loss, but then I'm on a new win streak since the loss. So okay, those are blitz games that are showing up. Yeah, I went over 1200 on blitz, but then I dropped back below 1200 a bit. Yeah, that was yesterday. Okay, so let's go to rapid. Just want to see what my new win streak is. Okay, my new win streak is 4. So I have a pretty nice history going on right here. Because I think I had like I don't want to count them exactly, but this was like around a 9 win streak or so. And then we took 1 loss, and now we're on a new 4 win streak. So yeah, we're actually moving up towards 1400 extremely fast right now. And then once I hit 1400, hopefully in our next game, but we'll see, then it's only 100 points left to go, and then we'll be at 1500. So I don't know, those last 100 points might be really hard. We'll have to see. And yeah, this has been day 147, I believe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on day 148.